Sunrise breaks across the ocean. The coffee's brewing and the day is new. I like to sit right here and watch the morning until the sky turns into a field of blue. What I need is a little downtime in the right place, in the right space. It's gonna take me at least a week to clear my mind. Yeah, I'm gonna need a little downtime. It's a perfect beach day, what don't you think? It's a perfect house day too. And just glad to be here. Yeah, it's warmer than Nashville. It don't really matter what we do. What we need is a little downtime in the right place, in the right space. It's gonna take us at least a week to clear our minds. Yeah, we really need a little downtime. A little downtime. Turn off that cell phone, baby. Haven't checked my email all day. Well, there's a lot of people out there trying to reach us. For now, I think I like it that way. What we need is a little downtime in the right place, in the right space. It's gonna take us at least a week to clear our minds. Yeah, we really need a little downtime. A little downtime. A little downtime.
Hey folks, it is I, Jason Hyatt, and you are on RoundTable Ranch, or watching RoundTable Ranch, or perusing RoundTable Ranch. You know, all that stuff over here. So, sorry we had to reschedule from yesterday, but our cable line was 2 foot underwater, and had to get a new cable box, or new modem, router, hoopy doopy thingamabobber, whatever they call it, and I got to fix that. It's irritating. There we go. All I did was take my hat off. Jeez. But this is the show for law enforcement, veterans, first responders, or veterans, law enforcement, first responders, or first responders, law enforcement, veterans, however you want to say it. This is the show for all of us that provide a public service protecting the flock. Yay, look at that. And have stories of triumphs and tribulations and losses and issues and all that fun stuff that we go through on a day-to-day basis. And that logo is really irritating me. It blends in. I'm sorry. I'm kind of like, I'm here. I really am. But I needed to hit this one. See? As you can tell, I changed the background back here. See? Black and white's nice. Gray and white's nice. White with black letters is nice. Black with white letters is nice. But sometimes you got a little color to go with it. And it's Thursday. I figure if I'm going to change the day, I better change the logo. But anyway, now that we're 5 shows into this is the 5th show. I figure I need to explain some more things about, let's see if I can get this right, about this logo right here, this symbol. So the reason why this is the RoundTable Ranch is all what this, well, I had it right the first time, this ball of yarn, as it's been called, over here behind us, simulates. That is a round table, even though half of it's cut off right now. And you got squiggly lines in there because I want this show to be a discussion between veterans, law enforcement, first responders about our issues, our triumphs, our losses, and everything else. I don't want to be just the one in front of you talking all the time. Excuse me. That's one of my issues. We might get into it. All the storms yesterday we had, barometric pressure changes, my ears get clogged up, and everything was sounding fuzzy on my left side. Your right side, my left. Anyway, this show is an open format discussion with no holds barred between any guest that comes on. It could be the veteran themselves, it could be their spouse, it could be law enforcement personnel, it could be their spouse, it could be first responders, it could be their spouse, their older children. People need to come on and discuss what's going on in their day-to-day lives that has to do with their jobs, the jobs they had, and or maybe what they're doing now and how it relates to what they used to do. For those of us that are no longer military or law enforcement or first responders that have been retired or medically disabled because of the jobs we used to do. It's why I created the show. You know, there's been nothing better for me than discussing everything that's gone on before with my spouse or with my friends or my other veterans or the CVMA, the guys that I ride with. It's been very helpful, and I've gotten through some of the things that I needed to get through. Obviously, not all of them. You'll never seem to get through all of them. It just happens this way. No, it's not a beer. It's a particular drink from a university in Florida. But since we have copyright things, I'm not going to say it. So, yes, the 4th. Thanks for joining us, buddy. But talking about well then, I would say what it is, however, comma, copyrights. Sorry. And yes, that's about right. But it's hot outside, and I've been working in the yard. Anyway, so I'm going to explain who the 4th March Hand is in a minute. But right now, I'm about to change his name to Waterboy. any way you look at it, because it's starting to get pretty serious here. Any, so the fourth March End, or otherwise known as Quattro, which is otherwise known as Tipsy, is the commander of the chapter of the CVMA I ride with. And I'm not going to tell you why I got all those other names, but obviously he's the fourth March End of the same name. And that is where some of the names have come from. But yeah, since I got back on a motorcycle and started riding with a group of guys, things have gotten a little bit better. I will use Memorial Day as an example because I can't say never, I very infrequently ever left my house during Memorial Day weekend. It irritated me that the general population had commercialized it, had big parties, and they weren't using it for what it was supposed to be for, and it generally pissed me off. And I know that's pretty one-sided of me, but that's the way it was. And then I didn't like people anyway. So I linked up with the CVMA here, the 25-9, and we did Memorial Day rides. Well, my wife and I went down on a Saturday that weekend first, and then on Memorial Day, I linked up with all the guys and I rode with them. And it was just such a brotherhood and acceptance and a surrounding of the things I was missing from when I was active duty, the jokes, the rubbing, all of the stuff that I missed about being part of a unit was there, even if there was Air Force people involved and some guy that really thinks he's SF, but that's security forces, not special forces. I think the Air Force and the Army got them backwards. So anyway, even if there's Air Force and Navy guys there, I really, really enjoyed it, and that is why I joined. And it's just gotten better from there. I mean, we broke down in Wyoming over the summer in Sheridan, which just happened to be where the national event was. Sheared off 5 lug nuts or 5 wheel studs off my truck while pulling the camper on our way to Washington State. We had our bikes. We rode for a week, but all the guys that were there and that were part of the CVMA welcomed us with open arms. Even though I hadn't gotten my patch yet or gotten my card, I was still a full member, but it made our shortened vacation a lot better by having the brotherhood and the sisterhood around to kind of take our mind off of the turmoil we were going through. It was great, and that's why I continue to push people towards the CVMA if I can. If they ride a motorcycle, they'd be much better off going that way than other groups, I believe. Some people don't like it, but we don't have prospects. We already earned our patches. But anyway, that's what this show is for, is finding a camaraderie between veterans, law enforcement, first responders, and trying to find a way to fix it. So that's what we're doing. And as of right now, it being the 7th of April, in roughly 10 days, I'm going to have another batch of baby badgers, aka Dutch Shepherds. Half of them will be sold, half of them will be given away to veterans, law enforcement, first responders that need them for service dogs. You're talking, look up Dutch Shepherds on the internet, you'll see how much these dogs are worth. I give them basic training, sit down, lay down, stay, don't eat their food without being told, potty train as best as I can, because because I can potty train them here doesn't mean they're going to be potty trained at your house. You're still going to have to work with them. Everything above and beyond that training is on the handler that gets the dog, because I'm not certified to make a dog a service dog. I'm not. The state of Georgia allows me to train my own dogs, but I don't want to mess up your dog for you. Your state might have different rules and regulations. So if you do want a dog, email this gunsvetsurvival@gmail.com. We will talk. We'll try to figure it out. Like I said, 10 days from now is when they'll be born. One puppy is already spoken for, possibly two, but I'm expecting a litter between 9 and 12. Last year we had 10 born, 9 survived. We gave away all 9, and it was great. They're all doing great work, except for one. That's my daughter has, and she's a spaz. But there's one in every litter. So that's where we're at. So today's topic was supposed to be like the second victim phenomenon. And we were supposed to have a guest on, but he got called into work right before this. I'd sent him an invite, and then he got called in. So I guess you get to look at this face that is best made for radio once again. So I think talking about a little bit about hobbies might be a good thing, and kind of a off on left field. I'm going to promote my other show a little bit because it is one of my hobbies. Actually, both my other shows are my hobbies, but we're going to stick with one or the other. I think I've mentioned before that I forge knives. That is one of my hobbies. It's a lot cheaper for me to beat on a hot piece of steel than to beat on somebody else when I get angry. So making knives is a wonderful hobby. I don't have power hammers, and I don't have presses, and I don't have all that fun stuff you see on Forged in Fire. I just have my hands and my arms and grinders. Not those big super 2x72 grinders yet. I only got 1x30s and a 4x36, and they barely work. But it's the act of making something and out of something else. It is truly calming for me. I can be angry, go out, fire up the forge, throw on a piece of steel, and beat on it till my heart's content, or until my arms feel like they're going to fall off and I'm not going to jail for hurting somebody. It's a very important thing. But recently we started the Backyard Prepperversity show, where I'm turning my just under 1 acre plot of land. It's 0.97 acres, 0.97. So it's 3/10 of an acre, less than an acre, into a miniature farm. I'm not going to have goats, and I can't have horses, and I can't have, cows, but I do have chickens, and I'm having my garden. I'm raising my own food, and I have my koi fish, which today I literally sat outside while working in my shop, getting it ready for the puppies, open the door, and just listen to the water run. Because I have a makeshift waterfall into this thing, and this 150-gallon tank I have them in, my koi pond. And just realize how incredibly peaceful it is. So most people know it's peaceful to sit around water, but sometimes I forget. I live in a neighborhood. Yes, it's a ginormous little piece of, yard in a neighborhood, but we kind of lucked out there. Everything behind us is trees. But hobbies will get you through it. While you're trying to find your purpose in life after retiring, or while you're trying to take your mind off of what you do on a daily basis, a hobby is probably what's going to make you get through it. For me, it used to be, before I retired, I didn't have a hobby. My hobby was work. My hobby was calling my soldiers and checking on them. My hobby was, going in at 2 o'clock in the morning and walking the barracks. My hobby was planning gunnery. My hobby was taking care of my Bradleys. I mean, that my job was all consuming of my life, and I loved it. I didn't have time to think about anything else. But I also, in that same time frame, kind of forgot I had a family. So there was that. You know, um, when I got blown up, I forgot when my kids were born. I know when they were born, but I forgot that I was there for two of them. I cannot recollect being in the hospital when they were born. I just can't. So it was easy. It was easier for me to disappear into the life of video games than it was for me to meld back into fatherhood. I'd forgotten a lot, and I didn't realize I'd forgotten so much. It's not an excuse for being a shitty dad. It really isn't. I'm going to say it right there. I probably wasn't the best father. After having brain surgery, and it still took a few years for me to get my anger under control and for me to get some semblance of being able to manage myself back. I wish I could do a lot of this things over that I did when I retired or before I retired or before they knew I had an injury. But it's one of those things. And having a hobby, like doing all these podcasts now, is a hobby for me. I don't get paid to do this. I make no money, and if I do make money, it goes to the Warriors Ranch. But this is a hobby. We started the Shooter's Rest Radio in December 2012, so it has been 10 years running as a radio show, and just recently came over to a full-on podcast, which I plan on doing a whole lot more with it as things get going. Right now, I'm just trying to beat people's head in with training for that one. But all of these things I do are hobbies, so I don't have to think about all the other stuff. It's background noise, and it helps me tremendously. I can come on here and I can air my grievances with the VA, which I have many. And most of the people that watch the show understand where I'm coming from. I've even had people offer to help with some of those grievances with the VA because they saw the show, which makes me incredibly happy. I'd be happier if I can get them on the show so they can help everybody. And that's what I'm working on. 2 weeks ago, we had my daughter's boyfriend, Joshua Norton, otherwise known as Ua, because I'm lazy and I don't like saying Josh, on, and we had a great discussion. And I kind of started understanding some of the places he was coming from as a EMTA, or an AEMT, an asshole emergency medical whatever person. Yeah, I think that A stands for asshole. I'm not sure. It's either that or advanced. It all doesn't make sense. But it let me get into his brain a little bit. I can understand some of the places he's coming from, with some of the things he's dealt with, and some of the things he's done. And he hasn't been an EMT long. Not very long at all. But it's very challenging to the psyche, and it's very challenging to the soul sometimes. So, oh geez, I'm trying to type at the same time. My computer's bouncing. So, as you saw earlier, you can post a comment on any platform you're working on, unless it's my personal profile. Go to the RoundTable Ranch Facebook page, which is at RT Show 911 on Facebook, and go ahead and type in there your comment, and I will see it on my wonderful studio screen here, and I'll be able to address it, be able to talk about it right there. As you can see on your thing, I just posted, come on in, the water is fine. We don't bite normally unless you come in here and say something really, really stupid and offensive to this group of people, which really can't get offended by anything at all. I mean, we've seen it all, we've done it all, we've made fun of people for all of it, we've had ourselves made fun of for all of it. You probably cannot offend us unless you take out the American flag and stomp on it, and then you're going to get hurt. So come on in, make your comments, ask us all questions. Like I said, it's an open format discussion. So back to the gator juice, as it was called, or sluice. Yeah. Now that's interesting. Power of a green screen. Anything green, yellow, or blue you put in front of it instantly becomes part of the green screen. So this show is a public show. So if you're afraid of showing your face, not really afraid. Let me rephrase that. I can't say you're afraid. You've done enough for this country that you have nothing to be afraid of. But if you're in a job still where showing your face could be detrimental, or you had a job where it would be detrimental to show your face, we have ways around that. We can come on and we can put up a different picture as long as it is, not NC-17 or TV mature or any of those ratings. We can put up a different picture for you. Oh my goodness. Why do I hate living in a neighborhood? Because of that. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but somebody just came through with giant subwoofers blasting it through the neighborhood, which is not cool. I don't like it. It hurts my ears. Even though I do blast my music, I just don't. I have more respect for my neighbors than that. But anyway, I'm branching off into other things. So, nope. All right. I was doing something. There we go. All right. So, getting in contact with the show. Any of the shows that I do, you can email gunsvetssurvival@gmail.com. Any of the shows other than that, if you just want to email Dan Meadows, who runs CTW TV Network, you email info@CTW. Oh, no, it's info@chasewolves.com, I believe. Where's my thing? I wrote it. I keep writing things down and then losing it. This is the wonderful world of having a brain injury. You write things down and then you forget all about it. Forget where you put it. I can hear one of my dogs outside beating up the door. Anyway, email this. I'll forward it to the right one if you just want to get a hold of the show. We're also looking for more podcasters on the CTW TV network. Another reason to get a hold of Dan Meadows is if you want to do this kind of thing. We're looking for all sorts of shows, all sorts of podcasters. I mean, I do a gun-related show, The Shooter's Rest. And then Dan does another show at 8 o'clock. And then the next day I do Backyard Prepperversity. And Dan does a show about security. And then Wednesday I do this show. And Dan's doing a show about survival. I mean, that's generally how it works. We just try to get everything plugged in some way related to each other without them overlapping each other. But we're having a cooking show come on. We're having an author show come on. We're having another veteran related show come on. We have more podcasters coming. So if you care to do this, go ahead and email us and we'll get you to the right place and we'll get everything taken care of. And I really need to get my teleprompter working so I can remember all of it properly. But I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be right back. And in the meantime, you can watch this pretty little thing about. All right. Well, that was eventful. Walk out of the studio and find the dog that was outside inside. So, one of the problems with having such smart dogs and training dogs to do things and help you is that you also train them to open doors, which isn't bad, but when you want one to be outside and stay outside so you can kind of separate them and have some quiet and some peace. And I have a pregnant female who's down at my feet, and I didn't want him in the house making a bunch of noise. But they know how to open doors, and I forgot to hit the lock, so that was a break. Wondering what was going through my house. Just my dog, who opened the back door and was roaming around the house. Which he doesn't get in trouble for, but he was supposed to be outside, not inside. Thank goodness I didn't have any meat on the stove, because that would be gone, because he likes meat. But anyway, since we had such big storms yesterday, and the last couple of days where I am, wonderful Macon, Georgia, the middle of Georgia. Let's talk about a few things. I'm big on preparing without being obsessive about it. Like, it's something the military taught me. Have what you need, but don't have more than you can carry in one trip. Like in your vehicle in one trip. These storms the last couple of days have realized that maybe I have become a little bit more lax than I used to be. Even though I have my generator, I have my fuel, I have food, I have all the stuff. But I can tell you, I certainly was not prepared for the deluge of water that we had fall out of the sky on us last night. Digging a 32-inch deep. Well, the pond bottom is 32 inches, and the berm around one side is 18 inches. And in 2 days, it went from being dry to full and almost overflowing. I was not prepared for the amount of lightning. I wasn't prepared for the amount of thunder. And I don't know if I got lax with mentally preparing myself for these things, or I thought I could handle it easier than I used to handle it. But there was a couple times last night where it really shook me. And usually it does. It hadn't been lately, but yesterday really had some lightning hit. I can see where it hit still today on the backside of my neighbor's property. Um, I watched the lightning come out of the ground. I can almost see it slow motion in my head. There's a scald mark in the grass. It's pretty impressive. But the amount of thunder, that loud noise, reminded me so much of a freaking paladin going off. It was scary. Um, it was like I can say it was impressive, but I can also say I was not prepared. Usually, say 5, 6 years ago, we'd have a huge storm coming in. I start hearing thunder, and I start repeating my mantra to myself that I tell myself most nights when I go to sleep is I'm home and I'm safe. I don't ever say it out loud. I say it in my head, but generally on nights where I close my eyes, the first place I go to is the freaking nasty desert, or I start feeling it's mental, but start feeling that swampy, nasty, smelly banks of the Euphrates air, and I start telling myself I'm home and I'm safe, and I'll do that till I pass out. And 90% of the time, I don't have a problem. But I used to do it before storms to remind myself that I'm home and that noise is just thunder, or that noise is not going to mess with me. And generally, it was I'm fine while I'm awake. I'm not fine while I'm sleeping. I can tell you, I really should have prepared myself mentally last night when I laid down. Because even though the weatherman said the storm will end at this time, it was still thundering in the distance when I went to sleep. And any of us that have ever deployed knows the farther the artillery is away, the more it sounds like thunder in the middle of the night. Even if all you're hearing is like the concussive boom. And to be honest, I used to look forward to those nights while I was deployed because I'd go to sleep faster. Something about helicopters and explosions in the distance. I got itch. I'm sorry, but would make me fall asleep faster. I wouldn't fall asleep faster if we were getting shot at. So probably was possible sometimes, but it's living with those little noises in the air that sometimes you have to mentally prepare yourself for. And then sometimes after you haven't had to do it for a while, it comes back and shocks you that you had. So while I would say that talking to my spouse has helped me tremendously, it obviously hasn't made everything go away. I don't think anything is going to make it all go away. Sorry, I'm typing again. And I can't, for some reason today I'm having a hard time doing two things at one time. Very interesting. So at least my dogs are being good. Prego dogs not eating not Prego dog, and vice versa. They're fat, dumb, and happy today, just like me. So, oh, if you guys are new to the show, like you haven't been around before, you have to be told, but others might remember. I have a brain injury, traumatic brain injury, where I had a hole drilled in my head, and there's a metal plate right here. Okay, there is scar tissue in my right frontal lobe. That's important to the story I'm about to tell. My mother and I were having a discussion the other day, and I like to make fun of myself because if I don't, then I feel sorry for myself, and I don't like feeling sorry for myself. I never want to feel sorry for myself. So I do make fun of myself. I make fun of my condition, even though sometimes it drags me down. You got to fight back, and this is the way I fight back. But we were talking about something, and I said, it's okay. My brain's just a little retarded. And of course, she went with, you never say that about yourself, da 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 da. I was like, no, Mom, seriously, listen. I have scar tissue in my right frontal lobe. Scar tissue makes it so the synapses don't fire as quickly and don't exchange information as quickly. And when you slow something down, it's called retarding the system. So therefore, my brain is a little retarded. So therefore, Jason is a little retarded. She's like, you don't tell people that because they'll look at you differently. They look at me differently already. What difference does it make? I'm the crazy tattooed guy with a dog, or the guy that got pissed off because you said something weird, uh, which hasn't happened in a long time. I haven't threatened to kill anybody in a very long time. But get looked at strange anyway. It doesn't really matter because I don't care. I say what's on my mind when it comes to my mind, and most of the people around me don't quite understand it. But normally it's because I have a dog with me. People look at me strange. But I will say it. My brain is a little bit retarded, as in it's been slowed down. Does it make me slow down? Most days, no. There are days where I don't get out of bed. There are days where things were going great, and the next I'm laying face down in a pile of dog poop in the backyard. It has happened. Brain shuts off, I hit the ground. Normally only happens while I'm standing up or working on something. So don't freak out. Yes, I ride a motorcycle. Yes, I drive a car. Yes, I operate heavy machinery. But what has in common with all of that is I'm sitting on my butt. Only time I've ever hit the ground is literally after walking or standing up for too long. So it is one of those things. That's why I have a dog. He lets me know unless he's not outside and I'm on my way inside and fall down and lay down in a pile of poop. Which has happened. It happened last year while I was doing the goat thing. So just last thing I remember, walking. Next thing I remember, my wife standing over me going, what happened? I don't know. So my brain has been slowed down to the point where things sometimes take a while for me to figure out, you know, but I will get there. And memories are kind of crazy. Remembering things is darn near impossible. I have this. And even though I write stuff in it, I can't remember where I put it half the time. Like I just found it after looking for it for a couple of days, and it was sitting underneath my computer in front of me. It's not that I don't look for it; it's just that I don't see it, or I don't remember seeing it after I get, after I look past it. It's kind of weird, but I see a lot of people watching. I don't see anybody commenting, and something tells me that some of them have commented on my personal profile, and I can't see it from there. Uh, yeah, maybe I can see it from my personal profile. I didn't realize that it was working now. It wasn't working a couple of weeks ago. If you posted on my profile, I couldn't see it. But we, yeah, well, we do have quite a few people watching. So, if there's anything you'd like me to discuss or to explain, or maybe a topic for next time, or anybody would like to be a guest, All you got to do is post on the social media platform in which you're watching the show in the comments section. It can be YouTube. Because right now we are on Twitch, 3 different YouTube channels, and 3 or 4 or 5 different Facebook pages. And all you got to do is comment on the video. It shows up on my right side, and then I can show it underneath my face for radio, and we'll talk about it. Or if you don't want me to show it, but hey, don't show this. Oh, wait. Haha. So, I have the same issue with memories, brother. I can only recall things when other people start talking about something similar. It's rough. I used to be sharp as a tack. Now I'm more like a dull splinter. Yeah, yeah. That is a problem. I wouldn't say I was as sharp as a tack, but I had a very 3 and 4 syllable vocabulary. My mother is a walking Webster dictionary, and that's what I grew up with. We wouldn't use small words. I swear there was at least a 3 syllable word minimum in our house growing up. And now I have a hard time remembering the word floozy. Not koozie, floozy, because it happens to be my favorite old time word. Like, my favorite obsolete word is the word floozy. Don't know why. I just like to say it. It's a funny word. Floozy. But I used to be a lot more articulate. There you go. My 3 syllable word for the day. But now, a lot of the times, I'll get to a word in my brain. I can see it. I could say it, but I'll stutter 300 times before it comes out. And for me, it's very frustrating. Or somebody will look at me and say, "Why are you mumbling?" I don't realize sometimes that as my mental capacity gets here we go with the word missing a word, gets compromised because my brain randomly swells and does weird things. My propensity to not enunciate comes out. It's like most people get to that point when they drink 6 beers. That is me on a normal basis. I don't drink a whole lot because when I drink, it doesn't do anything. It takes a lot of alcohol for me to get to the point where people get to like just sitting around the table and slamming alcohol. Um, and sometimes I don't realize how much I drank, and it's because I don't feel drunk until I'm drunk. I don't get the buzz; I get everything else. So um, that is where we're at. I would love to be able to have the the quickness of wit that I used to have, and I'd love to be able to remember the things that were important to me. Uh, buddy, you and I have done the same things. Oh, me too, man. Now I struggle to find words for simple things. Just the other day, I kept calling my son's toothbrush a toilet brush when telling him to pack it in his bag. It didn't even occur to me I was calling it a toilet brush until he asked what I meant. Yeah, this is just one of many instances. Brother, I tell you, if if I had somebody to talk to all day, my wife's at work, I'm just here at the house talking to the dogs, and right now we have 3. Okay, people would realize just in how bad things get when you're trying so hard to just say something quickly. You know what you mean. and you say what you think you're trying to. You say the words that you think are in your head, meaning exactly what you think they mean, but they come out completely different. So, three dogs: Waya, Yona, and Mojo. Yes, they're all black, but they're three different sizes. You got Mojo is a great name. Yona is a Dutch Shepherd, and Waya is a Dutch Shepherd. But it's like stair steps. Mojo's still a puppy. You would think I wouldn't call him Waya. He's not female, and he's not small, and he's not pregnant. But it's not. It's the words that come afterwards. And I'm glad they're dogs and not human beings because they'd probably look at me like I had something wrong. It is easier for me to just say, dude, go poop and open the door than say the things that I was thinking of saying because as I see them flash across my head, I'm like, huh? I don't even understand them. So I completely get it. So I don't think I've ever. Mm, a son's toothbrush could also be a toilet brush, so you might have actually had that right. Just saying. Just saying. So yeah, things to remember when you're listening to other people talk. Just because you don't understand the words coming out of their mouth, don't assume they understand the words coming out of their mouth either. Ask. Most of us won't get pissed off. We'll look at you and laugh and say, like, I can't believe I just said that. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Exactly. That's what I, in your head it was toothbrush. In your mouth it was toilet brush. Sorry, that didn't sound very good. But I'm glad your son asked, what are you talking about? Because most kids will look at their parent like, okay, I'll go get the toilet brush now and put it in my bag. So obviously your kids have understood that sometimes you have a word jumble in your head and they need to ask which word you were actually trying to say. And I'm glad they do that because back in the day, my kids would have just packed a toilet brush because dad screamed at them to pack the toilet brush. And it was never my intention to scream at them, but that is what ended up happening because I thought I was saying the right words and they were hearing the wrong words because I was saying the wrong words. It was totally me and not them. So that unfortunately is a whole nother topic for a whole different show in a whole nother century. I will always admit that I was not the greatest father. And I will always say, I wish I had done things better. I will also admit that had I not gotten my brain scrambled or been deployed, things with my kids probably would have never gotten so bad. I miss my kids. I miss being able to hang out with my kids and I miss being able to play with my kids. But it has taken me so long to get to the point where I can control my anger and what I say and what I do that my kids are grown. And all I can do now is try to tell them, listen, I'm not the same. I'm the same person, but I'm not the same. I don't have the same actions. And I don't blame everything on PTSD and a TBI. Some of the things are just me, but it's also part of the process. But I do know if I hadn't gotten blown up and I didn't have my PTSD problems, the problems wouldn't have gotten as bad as they were. I probably would have still ended up with a bit of a temper, with an anger issue. I doubt They would have ever gotten so bad. So I'm going to thank everybody for tuning in. Dan Meadows has a show at 8 o'clock. Give me 1 minute. Where'd it go? Oh, this is irritating. Thursday. 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 So, Thursday. Come on. I'm there. Yes. Chasing Lies and Chasing Freedom at 8 o'clock, 2000 Eastern Time, not Central, Eastern Time on the CTW TV network. So, tune in for his show, and I will see everybody again next Wednesday, same or at 1800, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Like I said, thank you everybody for tuning in. Next week, should have DJ Nichols, and I have a couple more feelers out for some other people to come on. And hopefully we can get this giant discussion because I'm going to run out of stories to tell you guys. Well, I'll probably never run out. I'll just never forget, never remember which ones I was supposed to tell you. It's just the way it is. And remember, get a hobby. All right. Love y'all. Y'all stay safe.